Hello everyone, it is the Bronze Archer here, bringing you the 5th episode in the Spanish Grand Prix for this year's F1 game for my career mode in McLaren. Today's race actually did go pretty well for once, and as you can see here I'm picking my new rival, so I've got my teammate as well as Kevin Magnussen now as one of my rivals. And you can see at the very beginning, Emma, could you shut up, please?
Lose the same amount of respect if you come off second best. So it may be wise not to be overly ambitious.
Okay, good idea. And so you can see I'm trying to have a little look, see what I can get for. And actually I chose at the end of the weekend, I chose to go for a new engine upgrade. Because the power is what's lacking really in the car. That makes sense, like it's not exactly the best power unit per se, it's one of the worst ones, and also soon our chassis and our downforce aren't up to spec. Power units probably be the best one to go for. And so I'm going to pass you over to David Croft and Anthony Davison for practice.
Welcome to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. Over the next few minutes, the teams will be heading out onto this classic Formula One track for what we're expecting to be a very hectic practice session. So Anthony, lots to do of course in these sessions, lots of programs to run. What are you looking for when you jump in the car for free practice?
Well, you have basic checks first of all. You know, is the car working correctly? What are the track conditions like? And you'll be chasing that as the session goes on. Things like that. Then you start getting into the nitty-gritty of it all, and they become more like test sessions where it's all about gathering new data, testing components, tweaking the setup and so on. So there's only so much actual practice that these drivers need. Most of them will be plenty familiar enough with the track layout, either from previous experience or from the simulator.
Today's classic lap is in the MP4-6 McLaren car, which was driven by Ayrton Senna and Gerhard Berger, which was the car which Senna won his last F1 championship in. And Russell Schumacher said that if it wasn't for him passing away in '94, he probably would have won 4 titles, probably would have tied Alan Prost for championships, but obviously sadly never got the opportunity to do so. So I'm going to pass you on to the lap, which actually is where this car actually raced at, and actually went side by side with Nigel Mansell in the FW13. I hope you guys enjoy this lap. See ya.
Out there, you must be really happy. You had an incredible pace in practice. Would you say that you're pretty comfortable with the car? How does the car handle in the wet? Do you have any worries going into the race? You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip? Appreciate your time.
As you can see here, I'm going through which upgrades I should go for. The chassis, we actually got the 4th best chassis on the grid, and reliability wise we're pretty good, downforce are pretty good, but the power unit was still behind Red Bull with power units. So I chose a power unit upgrade instead of a chassis upgrade, because obviously if you got a faster engine, it's kind of can outweigh the chassis performance. So that's what I went for. And now I'm going to pass you on over to David Croft and Anthony Davison for the qualifying introductions.
Today's qualifying session is about to start here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, and what a cracker of a session we're expecting it to be. And as we wait, poised for the start of what will hopefully be a thrilling qualifying, why don't you tell us, Anthony Davidson, about the things you can do to really get the most out of a car in a session like this?
Well, you're largely limited by the Parc Fermé regulations, of course. Back in the old days, pre-2004, you'd work on both a qualifying setup and a race setup over practice, and then swap them over after qualifying. So the race car was quite different at times to the qualifying car. Nowadays, though, you have to find a compromise that works for both. There are a few things that you can still adjust during the session, such as the differential, the brake bias, and the front wing angle, but that's about it. So it's more about optimizing what you do have and adapting your own style to suit the track conditions.
I'm now going to take you around my qualifying lap of the 2018 Spanish Grand Prix. You can see here, hitting around about 197 miles per hour, braking down to turn 1, 4th gear. Flick across, going a little bit wide though, took a little bit on the asphalt turf on the outside. Turn 3 is almost completely flat with this car. This hasn't quite got enough downforce yet to be able to take it flat. Going off on the round through, hit through turn 4. Going down to turn 5, going a little bit wide, but that's going to give me a straighter exit, but I also take quite a lot of the curb on the outside. Anyway, going through the little kink of turn 6, during my class as a turn. Then you got turn 7, the straight line turn 8 pretty much, and then you go through turn 9, I lift and just smash back on the throttle again, activate DRS, don't use any of the curb on the outside though, because it makes the car a bit loose. Now going down to turn 10, going a little bit wide. Which means I can get a pretty good exit though by getting a little step of oversteer. Go through turn 11 and turn 12, got a very, very wide line. Now going through the modified section from 2007, so this bit I kind of don't like that much because you have to try and be really quite careful, and also the cars really, I don't like this bit. Now going down to the final turn, using up all the curb on the inside, getting the back end out a little bit there. Activate DRS and across the line. And that is my qualifying lap at the Circuit de Barcelona, Circuito de Barcelona for the 2018 Spanish Grand Prix. And it was actually a pretty good lap, honestly. I rather enjoyed the lap, and it was a pretty fun lap as well. It wasn't very difficult, but it could have been better. And I'm now going to pass you guys back over to Anthony Davidson and David Croft for the start of the 2018 Spanish Grand Prix. Hope you guys enjoy it, as it is actually going to be a wet start to the race. It's going to be rather challenging, but rather good fun. Okay, see ya.
What does the Spanish Grand Prix have in store for us today, I wonder? I hope we see some tight wheel-to-wheel action down the main straight, circa Mansell and Senna way back in '91. Or maybe we'll have a more strategic race here on a track where overtaking can be difficult. It's 730 metres from pole position down to a slippery turn 1 here, the first of 16 corners around this 2.89 mile racetrack. The long, wide turn 3 and the uphill right-hander of turn 9 can both be taken full throttle in the right conditions, but I doubt very much we'll be seeing any of that today. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Hülkenberg, Raikkonen, Sainz, the Rainmaster, and Stoffel van Dorn, Grosjean, Perez, Pierre Gasly and Magnussen, Leclerc, Hartley, Esteban Ocon and Sergei Sorokin. Stroll and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
As you can see here, I'm editing my setup. So I was going for a 2-stop race today. That's the original plan. Anyway, as now let's get ready for the start of the race. As we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And we're off and away we go. We get a pretty bad start though, honestly. Didn't get very much traction. Zandon gets a pretty good start though, but doesn't quite get a good amount though. So it's going to be me and him going side by side down to turn 1. And me and him make a little bit of contact. Then launch right up on the inside. Locko actually made contact with Hulkenberg there. Forced Hulkenberg and Raikkonen out wide. Same thing with Sainz and Van Dorn. So he went full wide through turn 2. Into turn 3, I'm just maintaining half throttle through in 4th gear. Trying to figure out a way getting up on the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo's giving me very much room though, so I've got to be a little bit careful. Make a little bit of contact and go across onto the grass though, but still keep the pass though. Straight out my wheel a little bit, just trying to force him out wide, just try and give myself some room. Then going down into turn 5, it's quite rather slow, I'm just taking it carefully in the first lap. So my first time I've actually done any wet weather running throughout the entire weekend. Because in practice 1, or in practice 2, sorry, I actually did literally 2-3 laps, so I tried 2 running actually, which was a wet session. I did the race strategy program in practice 2 just because it was wet weather, and obviously I never realised at the start of the race would be wet, so I wanted to see if that could be any advantage to me. But going down to you can see I lost a little bit of time to Verstappen though, because I'm just struggling to keep the car gripping onto the surface. It's rather difficult, especially considering they actually remodeled the brand new surface as well, so it's very, very oily, and so it's quite difficult for you to be able to like keep the traction, especially in the wet but in the dry. You get loads of grip and you're really, really fast. As you can see here, I'm catching up to Verstappen just about by staying in his slipstream, and as I activate overtake mode on my ERS down the start finish straight. And that's the first lap of the race. Onto lap 2 here, I'm caught right back up to the back of Verstappen. The first and third sector are the best sectors for this car, because I mean sector 2 is a high speed sector, so it's quite fast and the engine isn't quite up to par with the Ferraris. And I can go up on the inside of Verstappen there, push him out a little bit wide, and go across turn 8 curbing on the outside there. Not very ideal at all. Going through turn 9, 5th gear. Now it's going to lap number 3 versus Valtteri Bottas in the wet weather conditions, as I am nicknamed the Rain Master in this game. That's the nickname which I chose. And I go across the curb to rather just straighten out my X a little bit to get better traction than Valtteri does. As you can see here, he leaves some room up on the inside. I dive him up on the inside, lock up though, and go a little bit wide. Valtteri Bottas goes up on my inside. Just to go back on the inside of him into turn 11 and turn 12, which people straight line the curbing a little bit there, which is kind of a little bit cheeky from me. Now we've gone all the way on to lap 18. Nothing really happened between lap 3 to lap 18. As you can see it, get a little bit wide. It's obviously the track's now dried off. As I go turn off my ERS deployment and just travel my way through the pit lane as I pretty much mash the brakes, just about hit the speed limiter perfectly. As you can see, Hamilton's a little bit held up though as a result of me coming into the pit lane, which was not, I did not mean to do that. As you can see, I've come into the pit lane, got my tyres changed onto soft tyres, and I get released from the pit lane. So currently it's me, it's Vettel, Hamilton, myself, Bottas in 4th currently. As you can see, I'm just driving out the pit lane. This is my first lap in dry weather conditions though, so this is going to be rather interesting to see how the car handles. So I'm obviously quite worried that the car won't be able to grip very well in the dry weather conditions on the soft tyre. I mean, the track's not 100% dry though, so it's still a little bit damp. It's like greasy still, so it's very, very difficult for grip. As you can see, I'm taking it nice and carefully, and just trying to push the car. As you can see, I get the back end out there a little bit, which is unintentional, obviously. hitting some of the curb on the inside turn 5. What's really got nice is that the way that turn works, on the exit you can just hit all that curb on the outside, and if you just like put the power down massively, you still get loads of traction. You see it struggling through turn 8, so we'll get the back end out again. Not through turn 9 down to 5th gear, still don't quite get it right. That just pretty much went off the circuit there, just had to snap the car back perfectly. As now we're going on to lap number 25, so 7 laps from when that bit was just shown. As you can see, Vettel's been overtaken by Hamilton, and Hamilton's just gone off down the road completely there, so it's between me and Vettel for 2nd place. This is not very good for the Ferrari cars, as Hamilton's all far behind both of these drivers for the championship. As you can see, I'm just catching up to him. Make a dive up on the inside, make a little bit of contact, we rub tyres as I get the overtake done, which is pretty decent actually for me to be able to do something like that. See it up into low ERS, we try and save up some ERS. Then on lap number 34, we have a safety car. So I choose later on that lap to come into the pit lane, onto the super soft tyres, to just try and have a little bit more speed. But luckily enough, this actually would help me later on. As into the pit lane I go, onto the super soft tyres. Hamilton's already quite a fair distance away in front of me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But quite a few drivers actually decided to stay out. Only me and Hamilton came in, but Hamilton had enough of a gap to be able to come out ahead of everyone. Well, as you can see here, I've already lost 2 places. And then as I come out, I nearly lose another 2, but just about stay ahead of Raikkonen. I mean, Raikkonen's getting quite close to me, so you can see I'm like just looking back, and I just about cover him off. So I'm currently in P5. As I'm getting ready for the restart of this race, as you can see here, Hamilton's in front, and he pulls away in 3, 2, 1, and we're back on the restart. Bottas brakes really early though, so I nearly went straight to the backside of him there, which would not have been ideal. As you see, I get a very bad run though as a result. As I'm going up into overtake mode just to try and block off Kimi Raikkonen which is right behind me at this point. So I'm up into 8th gear now. Not even sure, I'm a little bit down on power compared to Raikkonen, obviously, as Raikkonen's got the Ferrari and I've got the Renault power unit. As Raikkonen goes up on my inside, go right around the outside of him, take loads of curb on the inside, nearly take this turn completely flat out though. Just ease off the throttle a little bit, like feather it a little bit between 75% and full power. So I'm going down the little stretch here. Braking quite late though and taking a long curb. As you see, Hamilton and Verstappen have already taken out a few second lead. The launcher right up on the inside of Valtteri Bottas there. Then a couple turns later, so right behind Sebastian Vettel, I think better of it than to try and launch off on the inside. We get a pretty good run though after turn 9, as you can see, flat out, using full deployment, using full overtake mode to go right around the outside of him while I out traction him. Yes, I do! I have to go off the circuit though a little bit just to get the overtake completely finished, but I do, which is brilliant. Because now we're going on to lap number 39, as you can see here. You have Max Verstappen right in front of me. So as I've got to the point now, I've caught up Max Verstappen, which is literally the following lap. I go up on the inside and me make a little bit of contact with him by mistake. I actually touch his front tyre as I get told to reduce my ARS deployments. So on lap 42 I get a virtual safety car. So of course, as I've got an extra stop to do, I come in at this point because it's going to be the best idea to do. And also going to save, means I'll get pretty much a full pit stop in without losing any time. Well, I'll lose some time obviously because I'm in the pit lane going slower than everyone else will be, but as you can see here, I only lose 2 spots, which is to Carlos Sainz and Valtteri Bottas. So overall, pretty good stop from the boys. 2.5, I think it's 2.5 seconds there, I can't really tell. So I also do actually lose another spot to Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso, but he's going to be pretty easy to overtake because he's in a Honda powered car, so I think I should be able to overtake him rather easily. It's going through turn 2, and then turn 3, ease off the throttle and put it back full on. You see I'm already catching up to Pierre Gasly through the 5-speed turn 3. So you can see onto a few turns later, go up on the inside, Gasly into the inside turn 7 and turn 8. And that's a very easy overtake from me. So we're held to lap 58, as you can see here, but already overtaking Verstappen came into the pit lane and he makes contact with Sergei Sirotkin. and takes himself out of the race, and then Raikkonen taps him on the exit as well, just for good measure. So that wasn't very ideal at all for him, which is rather a shame really. So then we come to lap number 66. Nothing really happened. It's gonna be a double podium for Mercedes, but it's gonna be a top 3 for British teams from McLaren, Mercedes, not McLaren Mercedes, but McLaren Renault, and Mercedes AMG Petronas, which would make Hamilton and myself, which means 2 Brits in the top 2 places. I'm going to pass you over to Anthony Davidson and David Croft for the podium celebrations.
And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
As you can see there, very good results for the McLaren car, P2, which was pretty impressive. So I've got a first place finish at China, and now a second place finish here. So it's one of my weaker tracks as well. Next up's gonna be Monaco, though, which I'm rather excited for, because I'm aiming for a very high position. And also thank you, Anthony Davidson, for giving me driver of the day. I very much appreciate that, as my nickname is the Rainmaster. As Hamilton's now on the head of the championship, and we're up into we're still in P4. We're ahead of Renault, Haas, Force India, Toro Rosso's ahead of Williams and Sauber, as they've yet to get any points. But hopefully Charles Leclerc will probably be able to get some points at Monaco, or maybe at one of the highest speed circuits coming up, so like Silverstone, somewhere like that. I'm now going to pass you over to Claire for the interviews.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret? You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you? You must be thrilled to be up on the podium. How do you feel the weather affected the outcome today? Great! Well, that's everything.
As obviously had a very good race. I just finished my interviews. As you can see here, I'm now leading my rivalry against Van Dorn, easily leading my rivalry against Kevin Magnussen. So overall, actually, was a very good weekend. Second place finish for the car shows how much it's actually started to improve very quickly on. We're the 4th fastest car on the grid at this point now, which is brilliant. As you can see here, my reputation with McLaren's gone up, and hopefully, if you guys have enjoyed this video, please leave a like button, please hit the like button, and if you think my content worth subscribing to, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you. The Bronze Archer, signing out. Peace.